In this video we're taking a look at the Steam Virtual Theater mode. Now this mode lets you launch non-VR games onto a projected screen, or what looks like a projected screen in front of you, in a virtual theatre. To test the theatre mode we launched a bunch of non-VR Steam games from our Steam library, and we used the Steam controller because most people using the theatre mode won't be using these Steam VR remotes, but instead we're using a game controller to play non-VR games. We also tried using an Xbox 360 controller, however this didn't really work as we couldn't bring up the Steam overlay in the VR environment due to the lack of a Steam button. When it came to actually playing the games in the VR theatre mode, it seemed to vary from game to game in terms of how well they performed and if it was actually usable. Of the games we tested, Dirt 3, Hell Yeah and Geometry Wars 3 all ran perfectly fine and loaded up without issue. However, other games we tried like Ibn Ob, Jet Set Radio, King of Fighters, Rocket League and Wreckfest all suffered issues from stutter to not actually loading into the VR mode, or requiring you to take off your VR headset, go over to your computer, click on options and then go back into the VR mode. With the games that did work, the actual quality of the image isn't too bad and is quite usable. If I was to make some kind of resolution comparison, it looks a bit like a 720p projected image a couple of meters in front of you, stretched out on a 100-inch screen. Now because the theatre mode lacks options in terms of the actual depth that it's placed at, scaling or changing the room that you're sat in, it's really not worth the effort and you're going to get better play experience using the screen at this point in time. What would make the VR theatre mode worthwhile, aside from those options mentioned previously, would be if you could play your games in 3D in the same way that you could play some games using Nvidia 3D Vision. This would justify loading them up in the VR theatre just to play games that you'd normally play in 2D, but with actual depth. And I think if Rocket League actually worked and actually had depth, there would actually be an advantage to using the VR theatre rather than playing it on your screen. All in all, it's very clear that it's early days for the Steam VR theatre mode. And really, it's not fully fleshed out and doesn't work well enough to be a reliable option. If you do really want to play old games with a virtual reality headset, then you're probably much better off buying something like Vorpex, which is soon to have Vive support, or using Virtual Desktop, which gives you far more options and of course allows you to use your desktop more thoroughly in VR. VR Theatre's there though, and it's free, so we're just going to have to hope that Valve update it over time. And typically, it normally takes Valve 2 or 3 months after the launch of a new product, like the Steam controller, for them to really polish things and make the software better. If you found this video useful or enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and click the like button. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. We will see you in our next video that we do very soon. Thanks for watching and goodbye.